It is Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, and we are back. Maurice Patton, Wade Neely. We are recovering. I don't know if I want to say recovered from spring fling, but we are back in the saddle again after covering high school spring sports championships last week over in Murfreesboro. We crowned a few, we covered a few, and Wade, as I said, we're back.
We're back, baby. Ready to rip, ready to run.
Let's do it. Absolutely. Great show today, I think. In our second hour, we will be joined by Fairview High School football coach Chris Hughes, who is recognized nationally as one of the top flag football quarterbacks in the country. And the NFL made a move last week. They are going to allow players on a limited basis to take part in the sport of flag football in the 2028 Olympics, which will take place in Los Angeles. And I just wanted to get Chris's input on this because, you know, at least one renowned flag football player has said, you know, well, he's got some resentment about the move. We'll just leave it at that until we get Chris in. But I mean, you know, I can see, and again, we'll get more into this with Chris in that next to last segment of the show. But I could see if you're somebody who's kind of been on the ground floor of promoting the sport, playing the sport, growing the sport, and now all of a sudden here come these guys, you know. So I'm interested to get Chris's input in that, what the mindset is as far as the guys who have been putting in all the work at that level to see, you know, professional tackle football players be made eligible for the Olympics that are conveniently here on our soil in another 3 years or so. So we've got Chris, and he'll always be entertaining. Looking forward to talking to him about that in the second hour of the show. In the next segment, we will be joined by Chris Lee of Southeastern 16. Maybe he should change it to Southeastern 13 because that's how many teams the Southeastern Conference got into the NCAA baseball tournament's field of 64 that was announced yesterday, including a certain local team that nailed down the number one seed nationally. So looking forward to talking to Chris about Vanderbilt baseball, Southeastern Conference football, baseball, and NCAA baseball here in the next segment. So we're going to have some fun with that. We will be talking about some Braves. They had a great weekend this past weekend in terms of the fact that their former MVP returned to the field. That was about the extent of it, though. We'll get into that more here later in the show. We'll talk a little Astros. They had a good weekend. We got a couple of nice nuggets here for Mr. Neely, actually, that he's going to enjoy as the show goes. So looking forward to that. Again, plenty to get into. We've got NBA and NHL postseason play kind of winding down, getting toward the finalists in each of those. And it is Top 5 Tuesday. Wait, and I will wrap up the show by giving you our top 5 college baseball teams that we've seen. I got a couple in mind right off the rip. So looking forward to that. It's getting to be that time of year. So everybody's eyes kind of turn to the ping of the bat right about now on a national level. So again, big show. Going to be a lot of fun as we come back from 4 days in Murfreesboro. So Wade, how did you hold up? It's funny. I never saw you all week last week.
Big town, Murfreesboro, baby. A lot of places for me to hide. So you know me, I'm posh, right? So I was huddled up over at the Country Club Sports out there covering tennis a lot last week. You know, with the glitz and the glamour over at Adams Tennis Complex. But good day and a great week, really. But yeah, it's a big town. I got a few little hideaways I can get into in Murfreesboro if I really need to get out of danger, or an APB or anything gets put out, right?
You've spent more time over there more recently than I have, so I don't quite have all of the hideouts. I don't know all the nooks and crannies these days. But you did get to mention get to cover a state champion last week while you were out at the Adams Tennis Center. Is that right?
Yeah, death taxes and Summertown tennis for the ladies, at least 4 straight for them. Sorry, Gene Henley. His Signal Mountain girls were denied there, but I mean, hey, there can only be one winner, and it happened to come from Middle Tennessee. They take care of business yet again, so it kind of added a little fun, added a little extra excitement, which was already an exciting week as it is every single year, right?
You're telling me that you got to cover a state champion and you got to hang out with Gene Henley?
All week, man. I mean, the guy's a legend, and that's before he gets to Murfreesboro every year. But then when he posts up at the Adams Tennis Complex, or at the bar at the DoubleTree, business is to be tended to. But it was a great week. But kind of, I think everybody somewhat agrees. It's always a little exciting when it's done as well.
It really is, because, man, nobody wants to hear about the labor pains. They just want to see the baby. I get that. But, man, that's a tough 4 days. It really is. And, again, glad to survive it. So, with that said, let's get into this weekend's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the Rundown.
Rundown is here, boys and girls, but before we get into it, we want to remind you that our rundown today is brought to you by our friends at Zion Christian Academy. ZCA offers a faith-based, Christ-centered education right here in Murray County, so give them a call today. That number is 931-388-5831, or you can visit zioneagles.org and schedule an appointment today. Once again, that's Zion Christian Academy, where they are prepared for college and equipped for purpose.
Let's start you off with some spring fling results from Thursday, as we had some champions crowned in Division 2A and AA. In softball, Donaldson Christian defeated Silverdale 4-3 for the D2A softball championship. In Division 2 AA, it was Chattanooga Christian with a 3-0 win over St. Benedict on Thursday. Boys soccer action on Thursday, D2 AA, it was Knoxville Grace pitching a 3-0 shutout against Webb of Bell Buckle. And in Division 2 AA, the Big Red Montgomery Bell Academy edged McCallie 3-2. On Friday, Spring Fling Championship action in Division 2A, Columbia Academy goes back-to-back with a 2-0 win over Clarksville Academy. We've got coverage on the website at mainstreetmurray.com. Columbia Academy, 3 state tournament games, 3 shutouts, 3 complete game shutouts. Can't win if you don't score. And Columbia Academy apparently figured that one out over in Murfreesboro. So congrats to the Bulldogs, their second straight. In D2 AA, it was Lipscomb Academy all over Christ Presbyterian Academy, 11-2. Softball action on Friday, championship games, Eagleville, Downs, Hollow Rock, Brewston, 8-1 in Class 1A. In Class 2A, it was Liberty Creek, also going back-to-back, with a 7-1 win over Alcoa. Congratulations to Coach Cartwright and the Wolfpack over at Liberty Creek. In 3A, Gibbs in 8 innings, 1-0 over DeKalb County. Sounds like a heck of a ball game. Also in Class 4A, they also win 8 innings, but Walker Valley outlasting Green Hill. Green Hill was going for a second straight state championship as well, but it's the Phillies downing Green Hill 10-8 in 8 innings there. And then boys soccer action on Friday in Class A, Independence Academy defeated STEM Prep 1-0. Station Camp in AA with a 3-1 win over South Doyle. And in Class AAA, Hardin Valley defeated Bartlett 4-3.
Other action going back to Friday, Major League Baseball, it was the Padres defeating the Braves 2-1 on Chris Murdoch and Matt Murdoch Appreciation Night, as they were on hand to watch, a one-run game, but at least it was close. 2-1 your final there in Atlanta. The Mariners defeated the Astros 5-3 on Friday night. We got some WNBA scores winding back all the way to Friday. Minnesota defeating Connecticut 76-70. Las Vegas topping Washington 75-72. It was Seattle 77, Phoenix 70, and Golden State takes care of the LA Sparks 82-73. Sounds fell on Friday nights. Wilkes-Barre defeating them 10-5 in minor league baseball action. Speaking of baseball, let's creep the calendar one day closer to now. Let's go to Saturday. 4 state championships played on Saturday. We start in Class A, where Eagleville, shocker, I guess, defeats Coalfield, winning yet another state championship.
Their 4th straight, I believe. Yeah,
unreal. Crazy. And did they win in softball as well? Is that correct?
They did. They did.
I mean, just roll out the red carpet in Eagleville for the champs. Again, 6-3 was your final in the 1A title game. 2A was in favor of Lakeland Prep, who knocked off Huntington 9-1. Greenville with a 10-0 victory to take the 3A title over Munford. And it was Farragut 11, Clarksville 3. Again, 1, 2, 3, and 4A champions all crowned on Saturday. Major League Baseball scores was Astros defeating the Mariners 2-1. It was the Braves defeating the Padres 7-1. MLS action Saturday afternoon. It was NSC going north of the border and defeating Toronto 2-1.
WNBA action from Saturday. It was the Liberty with a 90-88 win over the Fever. Also, the Atlanta Dream downs the Dallas Wings 83-75. Paige who? Yeah. Sounds action. They knock off Scranton Wilkes-Barre 12-5. On Saturday. And in Arena 1 football action, the Nashville Cats pick up a victory down in the Oregon Lightning 50-36. Sunday, Major League Baseball action, it was the Astros 5, the Mariners 3, and it was the Padres 5, the Braves 3. In WNBA action, the Dream again picking up a 79-55 victory over the Connecticut Sun. The Sparks down the Sky 91-78. Phoenix with a 68-62 win over Washington. And, Seattle 102. Las Vegas 82.
Alicia Clark said, come get you some, right?
Yeah, there we go. Are we concerned about the Aces yet?
Yes, is the answer.
Yeah. Okay.
we were concerned already, but now we're really concerned.
Yeah, clearly.
At least this Aces fan is, that's for sure.
And in Sounds action, finally, their season finale against Scranton Wilkes-Barre over at First Horizon Park was rained out on Sunday.
A little womp to end that series there, unfortunately. Exactly. But don't worry, there's more on the Sounds. They were right back in action on Monday, but Indy defeated the Sounds 2-1 to get your Memorial Day started there on Monday. Your MLB schedule for tonight, 5:45. It'll be the Braves and the Phillies. This is Blooper versus the Philly Fanatic in the boxing match tonight. And good luck to Blooper. That's all I'm going to say in that one. 5:45 will be your start time there. It'll be seen on TBS. It'll also be shown on FanDuel Sports South. 7:10 as the Astros take on the Athletics at home tonight. Full slate practically on the WNBA. Games beginning at 6, Dallas at Connecticut, Golden State at the Liberty. At 7 o'clock, it'll be Seattle at Minnesota. 9 p.m. tip-off times for Atlanta at the Sparks, and as well as Chicago at Phoenix. That brings us to the end of our Monday schedule. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our Monday rundown.
Your top story brought to you, as always, by the fine folks at Piggly Wiggly in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch options available from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Also, their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top. News came out yesterday that Caitlin Clark will miss the next couple of weeks for the Indiana Fever as she has sustained a quad strain. No word on whether or not the WNBA will be suspending play for the next couple of weeks. Apparently,
he went there.
Yeah, I did. She's going to miss at least 4 games, apparently, and perhaps more. Indiana is set to play the Mystics tomorrow That game is in DC, and it's unclear whether she'll travel or not. But regardless, she's going to miss that game and another 3 at least. Bringing a string of 185 consecutive games at least to an end. She played all 139 games in her collegiate career at Iowa, and she has played 46 straight to open her WNBA career. It is thought that she has not missed a regular season or postseason game since her sophomore year at at Dowling Catholic High School in West Des Moines, Iowa. And her coach apparently said that it about killed her to have to sit out. But I mean, if you can't play, you can't play. And a strained left quad at the WNBA level, I would say, means you can't play. So in all seriousness, you hate to see this early in the season because the Fever has been trending upward as they were throughout the season last year. You feel like they are a team that has a chance to make a playoff run, and they kind of need this time right now to continue to try to gel with so many new pieces and with a new coach. So it's the timing of this situation is not great for the Fever. I really believe the WNBA will survive, but
they will survive. But if you bought tickets already to the Sky and Fever game, I'm sorry about your luck. Those prices have now plummeted. They were close to $100 to get in the door about 48 hours ago. Now they're down to about $20. So if you bought tickets to that, if you're in the Washington market, or if you were making a trip, got some friends that have made the trip over the last year and a half to Indiana to watch some games, you're SOL, as the kids say. And good luck trying to resell those tickets. Not many people beating down the doors if Caitlin's not playing.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because Aaliyah Boston's pretty good.
And to your point a minute ago, the good news for them is they got a relatively easy stretch here. You got the Mystics twice, who are much, much improved. Don't get me wrong there. But you got the Mystics twice. You got the Sun, who are decrepit, basically, yet to win a game. You got the Sky, who are equally decrepit, yet to win a game, but still talented and could, maybe muster up a win playing at home. And make things worse, that game's played at the United Center. They moved that game because Clark was coming to town, so you're really kind of up against it. But the schedule breaks kind of nice if you're going to be put in this situation. They're real big games. Don't come till the middle of June. They do have to go to Atlanta on the 10th for Commissioner's Cup game, and they have to play the Liberty on the 14th in Commissioner's Cup play. So you got a couple weeks to maybe, whether you win those games or not, you can at least kind of figure out what your team looks like when she's not in the lineup.
Yeah, you'd certainly like to get her back for the Liberty game, but at the same time, if you do get her back, how much of Caitlin do you get back at that point? She won't return before that June 10th game against the Dream. So, we'll be keeping an eye on that and how the Fever manages to get along without Caitlin.
I must admit, I don't want to see anybody get injured, but as a proud Nafisa Collier MVP betting slip holder, I feel pretty good. Caitlin's no longer the favorite. Collier has moved up dramatically. She moved up a lot since back in a couple months ago when I nabbed her at a good price there. But Clark entered the season as a pretty hefty favorite. If you think maybe she comes back and keeps form, you get her at a discount right now. But Collier is creeping up as your new favorite as we speak today.
Where's Asia?
And it's third. I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We just talked about the Aces. It may be a little fatigue from her, but also the Aces just aren't doing it right now.
Yeah. Well, they've had some changes too, and they got some gelling to do, you would think. And like you said, Alicia Clark, who was with the Aces, is now with the Storm and probably had a good hand in that 20-point beatdown over the weekend. So we'll be
not good for my ladies, man. Yeah, they're not good for them. They're fifth in the West right now. It has not been a great start, to say the least. But they'll find some time. And they'll find some rhythm. It doesn't feel like anybody's going to catch Minnesota. And I've been high on the Mercury from the offseason as well. I don't know that they would even maybe have the goods to overtake them, but let the Aces slip in the 3 spot in the West, and they can do some damage. I'm still confident. I ain't giving up on them just yet, but it ain't been great.
You think that if they get into the playoffs as number 3 or number 4, they won't be motivated?
That's what I'm saying, right? Catch them peaking at the right time, perhaps. Yeah, they can still do some damage. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we return, we'll talk a little NCAA baseball with Chris Lee of Southeastern 16. Stick around.
Get ready, race fans. NASCAR is back in Music City with a new name, the Cracker Barrel 400. Guitars, fast cars, and the comfort of Cracker Barrel's country hospitality. May 30th through June 1st. The action kicks off Friday night at Nashville Superspeedway with the Rackley Roofing 200. Then the Tennessee Lottery 250 on Saturday. And Sunday night, NASCAR's top stars under the lights in the Cracker Barrel 400. Get your tickets now at NashvilleSuperspeedway.com.
Busy bee, yeah, busy bee. If you need
Hold on, y'all, hold on. I need to make a call. Hey, this is Brianna with Busy Bee. I'm giving you a call to let you know your technician is on his way.
833.
Bee, oh, busy bee. Guys, not yet. Not yet.
Busy bee, oh,
Now I'm
busy
ready,
bee.
guys.
Call 775-7833.
Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with Riverstone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe the measure of any person or company is how you treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStoneHandlers.com.
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. In the final segment of the show, Wade and I will give you our top 5 college baseball teams. Should be fun. Right now, we're going to talk a little college baseball with Chris Lee of Southeastern 16, as the NCAA Field of 64 was announced yesterday, as it traditionally is on Memorial Day, which means that it's not much of a holiday for Chris. Chris, how are you doing?
Yeah, it's postseason baseball. There are no holidays.
There you go. You just kind of get used to it. But Vanderbilt, number 1 national seed. Was that expected by the time the smoke cleared Sunday night?
About 24 hours were before it was. Any time at any point in the season up until that, it was not. But it was clear when the dust settled at the end, and like every computer ranking out there, you look at, they're number 1, including the 2 that not everyone, but the ones that I look at, the 2 that committee uses, they're 1 in both, in RPI and strength of resume. And they're also, one I like is the one that D1 Baseball does. It's called DSRs, and it's based on quality. It's more of a predictive metric, but they're 1 in that too now. So between the way they ended the season, all the quad 1 wins, the strength of schedule, it was kind of an astonishing development given the way that Texas ran off and hid from the league for a while, and had the regular season. And like everybody just for a long time assumed Texas is going to be the one, and that's how strong Vanderbilt closed.
Right, because I wasn't even sure, and I mean, I'm just a layman, I'm just a guy, but I wasn't even sure that Texas would relinquish that number one, even going out in the quarters, just because of the body of work that the Longhorns had put up all year. And has anybody on West End extended a thank you to Tennessee for doing their dirty work and knocking off Texas in the quarters?
I don't know. I'm not reporting. I'm gonna guess that has not happened.
No fruit baskets sent over, you're saying?
I don't think there's a lot of love right now between those two programs.
Even less than usual, feel like?
Oh, yeah. I think that series in Knoxville 3 weekends ago, whatever now,
yeah,
threw a little more gasoline on the fire.
And I think Tony V tried to tamp it down a little bit in his post game after the semifinal and tried to throw some bouquets toward the Commodores. I don't think they landed very well, but at the same time, still though, Vandy never saw Texas in the regular season, never saw him in the tournament.
Yeah. I was looking forward to a possible Vandy Texas just to see what it looked like. We didn't see that. I mean, and if we do, then both teams are going to be really happy because that means they'll be meeting in the finals of Omaha.
That would be quite interesting. Another State of Tennessee versus State of Texas national championship series after last year. Speaking of which, one of those not only didn't even make the tournament. How about Texas A&M? What has happened with them?
Man,
and not one of the headline storylines to come out of this, but as long as we're here.
I think there's a lot. I mean, they lost Gavin Grohovac, who's was going to be a potential top 5 pick in next year's draft. I don't know how sitting out a year is going to help that. We'll see how he recovers. But that was blow number one. That was early in the season. They already weren't playing well. They lost Caden Sorrell, I think, who's plays left for them maybe. He's an outfielder for sure, who's a potential, top 50 draft pick. I guess I can't remember if it's next year's draft or this year where he's eligible. He was gone half the season and then got hurt again late. And I don't know, man. I still thought they had enough. I mean, the pitching rotation alone they had 3 guys that you could see in the pros, particularly the first 2 guys. And Brian Prager, who's their ace, turned down 7 figures last year to come back to school. It was everybody's preseason national pitcher of the year. I can't explain it all. I don't know what happened. I mean, just when you thought they had it together, they lose to Missouri, and they get swept.
It's swept.
And Missouri goes 0-28 against
that should automatically disqualify. Is that not an automatic disqualifier for the national tournament at that point?
Well, apparently it was. If you looked at the committee yesterday, they weren't in the last 4 out, or I think even the next 4 out. So I would say that was accurate.
I found that, yeah. It just at the time it seemed like okay, they could still rally a little bit. Just I don't know. I felt like I had a little more faith in them than some this season. And they just never recovered the way that they did. But now looking back, I'm like, well, if you lose 3 to Missouri, you should disqualified. You should just be throw the social media graphic up right there, eliminated. Chris, I just want to immediately ask, who feels good or who feels the best other than Vanderbilt coming out of what we saw in Hoover, and who maybe feels the worst going into tournament play now?
I don't know that they feel the best based on the tournament, but the way Jay Johnson pitched it felt to me like he was looking for answers in some ways and maybe playing for next week more than he was trying to win the tournament. I feel pretty good about them just based on the way they can pitch. I'm always looking at top end arms and how many innings you cover, and they've got 4 absolute dudes that can almost give you 27 innings by themselves. And their other arms after that, there's a big drop-off in effectiveness. But, there's 10 more guys I can mention that are going to get drafted one day. And some of them drafted in the, I don't know, maybe even the top 2 or 3 rounds. I mean, to me, that's a team that I think should feel good, even if the optics weren't great. I mean, I say the optics, the way they finished. It's not like they had bad optics in the tournament. Ole Miss has got to feel good. Ole Miss discovered some bullpen, which has been a question for them all year. They are missing a starter, Mason Nichols, and that's not great. But he was probably the least effective of the three starters. And I think the way Ole Miss's bullpen pitched in Hoover, and granted, that's a little bit of a warped view because the dimensions there are immense. But, it is what it is. Sometimes you gain confidence in the venue. So I think off the top of my head, those are the teams that probably feel better. I'm looking to my right to make sure I don't forget anybody. I think those are the main ones.
Chris Lee of Southeastern 16 joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Talking a little NCAA baseball, particularly as it relates to the Southeastern Conference, which got 13 of its 16 teams in, everybody but Texas A&M, Missouri, and South Carolina. More on South Carolina in a second, because I got to ask you about the Gamecocks, Chris. But 8 region hosts, 6 of the top 8, and again, 13 teams total. You mentioned Jay Johnson and LSU, and again, I spend way too much time on the socials, but the general reaction seems to feel like, or a number of people seem to feel like, let me say that, the NCAA is desirous of LSU getting to Omaha. And when you look at their regional with Dallas Baptist, Rhode Island, and Little Rock, it's hard to argue.
Well, yeah, and I think Texas is another one that kind of got a cookie, maybe even more so. I mean, it's never easy to win a regional, right? Or usually not. And in the case of LSU, Dallas Baptist is not a 2 seed to be taken lightly, but I think they got the worst 3 in the tournament, probably in Rhode Island. And they're 4, and I don't remember off the top of my head who it was. Was it
Little
North
Rock.
Dakota State? Little Rock.
Little
Okay,
Rock.
Little Rock is probably one of the 2 worst 3s, worst 4s in the tournament. So right there, that's a good starting point. When you can kind of narrow the list of teams that has a chance to challenge realistically to 1, whereas you got some other regions, and I'm looking at the state of Mississippi, where that list is 2, if not 3 teams that could challenge the 1. I'd say they got off pretty well.
Tennessee gets a 14. There was some question going into the SEC tournament whether they would even be a host. Did them beating Texas kind of wrap that up?
I think so. It might have been there anyway. I had Tennessee, I think it's a 13. They got a 14. You could parse them a number of different ways, including they haven't played well lately. Just watch the way they're playing. And there's some validity to that. And also they lost 6 of the last 7 series. But, one litmus test to me is if I'm holding the cards and it's your fate, which card do you not want to be dealt? And I think even though they beat Tennessee in Fayetteville a couple of weekends ago, I don't think Arkansas was super excited about getting the Vols again.
I feel like, Chris, and I described this to somebody I was talking to, Tennessee kind of strikes me as the Forrest Gump box of chocolates team of college baseball, because you do not know what you're going to get. One thing that they do need to get is Dean Curley off the field.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I watched them, okay, and it's just like, and here's the thing. when they went through the offseason, they brought in Andrew Fisher, who I think had been a third baseman at Duke. And they brought in Gavin Keelan, who'd been a shortstop at Louisville. And I could be wrong. Fisher might have played some short, but don't hold me to that. The point is that's a lot of left side defenders with a lot of aspirations. I was going, okay, how do you keep everybody happy there with draft years upcoming and all that? And that's one challenge. The one I didn't anticipate was that none of them could play short. I mean, I guess Keelan's done okay at times, but he's not. I don't think he's in the lineup for his for his glove as much as he is for his bat. I mean,
right, but they've got a
Curly-
lot of guys
yeah.
that kind of fit that description, though.
They
And at
do.
some point, you've got to
including-
catch a ball.
Well, yeah, and look, them in a nutshell is like Curly in their second to last game. I guess the Texas game finally got rid of the yips and was throwing strikes to first, and then they play Vandy, right? And there's one of these balls he has to charge. And instead of eating it or what, he flips it with his glove over Fisher's head, and Fisher's got defensive issues of his own. I mean, he's missed easy balls right at him this year. You look at them at times, they bring in Antigua as a defensive replacement, as a Tennessee fan said to me, like, he makes the hard plays and botches the easy ones. It's almost like, remember when Nick Saban went through the thing, I guess Bobby Bowden, a better example, where Florida State couldn't win the big one because it couldn't kick a simple field goal.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama had a little bit of that too. It's almost like that with them. It's like that wasn't on the list of stuff that you were thinking about before the year. And again, you give me any outcome with Tennessee in the NCAA tournament, and none of it surprises me.
None.
From getting beat, in a regional to winning the whole thing. Now, I think winning the whole thing is starting to feel a little less probable because you're going to have to win that in a big ballpark with a lot of foul territory. And like I said in Hoover, when you make an overthrow or a mistake, a runner on first, instead of becoming a runner on second in most parks, he's now a runner on third. And they're going to deal with the same thing there too. Now, I will say Peebles has gotten better, and I don't think he was ever the problem at throwing runners out.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wonder sometimes, the holding runners on issue with Marcus Phillips has been a big thing. And I guess when you don't give up runners, maybe you just don't practice it as much. But that's kind of a little bit of a hole in their philosophy for a couple of years now. And now kind of add defense to it. They are they're easily one of the 2 or 3 biggest wild cards in the whole tournament.
We have
no fan base wants to hear this, but no fan base wants to hear this. But you said it exactly what Tennessee guys both did. They have the goods to at least go out and win. Yes. They have the puncher's chance for sure. They could also flame out into a couple of games, but I would take that. At least you have that upside at your disposal, as opposed to insert number 3 seed here and making it to a super is essentially your season, right? I mean, you kind of swing for the fences, and you might strike out, but you also might connect for the grand slam.
I mean, when we're done with the MLB draft here in a month from now, no team probably is going to have more guys picked in the top 100 or 150 than Tennessee, and that does count for something. Like for all his problems in the field, I don't think there's anybody I'd rather face, other than maybe Ike Irish at Auburn, than Andrew Fisher in the batter's box. And when you can, if Doyle, here's another thing. Doyle, I think that blister's bothering him. I keep hearing that. He hasn't been good the last 2 games, and now the bullpen hasn't been really good either. Although they got Arvidsson and Russell through really long and really good stints, and you get those guys stretched out and eating more innings. Okay, that minimizes places you have to pitch other guys. But man, we are all over the board here with the range of outcomes, and they're going to be fascinating to watch in the tournament, however that ends. And I couldn't tell you.
I don't know if fascinating is the word that Tennessee fans are looking for either, but I think you're absolutely right, just because you don't know. I mean, again, they are the box of chocolates. Chris Lee of Southeastern 16 joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Chris, we mentioned Vanderbilt is the national number 1 seed. We probably haven't talked about them as much as they deserve to be talked about. What has been the key to their surge here down the stretch, closing out the regular season and obviously winning this tournament down in Hoover?
Nobody's phrased it to me like that, but now that I think about it, the key to the success is like they're checking every box right now. Like they hit 2 home runs in the title game. That was their kryptonite all year. You go back to the regular season, they hit walk-off home runs, in 3 of their last 5 SEC games, with some other ones in there. So you can kind of check clutch hitting too. They did make an error in Hoover which again, not an easy place. It's a place that puts pressure on defenses. They gave up what, 2 runs in 3 games, 3 runs in 3 games. And I know pitcher's ballpark, but it's remarkable. They can run, they can defend, they can bunt. They're starting to hit home runs. They're starting rotation now. J.D. Thompson's been really good several weeks in a row. He's been almost unbeatable at home this year. I think their big weakness was the 2-hole in the starting rotation because Cody Bowker had gotten through the lineup once, okay, for the most part, and then the second time around, it's just not been as effective. And he's got great stuff, but he's a guy that was pitching in the bullpen for Georgetown a year ago. And sometimes guys get to like a 60 or 70 pitch mark, and it falls apart, and it has on him lately. Like, the first part of that's great and hard to hit. His stuff is tremendous. The second part, it's put them in positions at times where they almost can't get a reliever up quickly enough before the damage is done. So what do? They make a pivot. They throw Connor Fennell out of the rotation, which I thought was a great move. To me, he is a phenomenal break glass in case of emergency in the postseason, because you bring him in, you see nothing like him. Doesn't matter who else throws. And he's a unicorn in college baseball, guys. There's nobody, I don't even know who your comp to Connor Fennell would be. Between the stuff, between the speed at which he pitches. And did you guys see the showdown with him and Andrew Fisher in the Tennessee game where Fisher took the timeout? If you can catch that, that was the funniest thing I saw all weekend. It's about a minute of Fisher steps out to try to slow him down, and Fennell's just on the mound rocking back and forth.
Didn't move. Didn't leave. Just saying, all right, buddy, whenever you're ready to hit, I'm ready to go, and won the at-bat. And there's nothing you could do about it, right? There are rules for the pitch clock. A hitter's got to make eye contact, and he can stall it to 12 seconds. But the minute he looks up, guess what? Connor Fennell goes into the line and delivers. So either way, he's got you. Well, now you got Bowker, who's terrific for about 4 innings, with Fennell, who's gotten his confidence back. And he said, I just didn't attack hitters. The 2 rough starts he had in Tennessee and whatever's before that or after that. He says, I'm back to pitching the way I want. Well, now, if you got those 2 guys, I mean, that's almost a complete game 2-hitter when they're going well. And then you've got Austin Nye, who pitched better in Hoover. And I know the start with Kentucky here didn't go well, but he was lights out in the midweek. And, like, he's their next first-round arm, guys. He is super talented. He's got some confidence. And now he's your 3. How many teams have a future first-rounder pitching in the 3-hole? Not a lot of them. And then we haven't even gotten to Sawyer Hawks and Luke Gutt and Levi Huseman. And just they've got a ton of guys in reserve there. Tommy O'Rourke's been good. I mean, they can throw. England Bryan from Middle Tennessee Christian is dotted 100 this year and has been more effective. He's a little wild, but he's hard to hit. I mean, they just go on and on and on with the options there. And now I think that they've got the Bowker-Fennell thing, if that's where that's going to go. You're going to have a really hard time beating them if it looks anything like it did the last week or 2.
And pitching depth isn't as important given the format for the regions and the super regions as it is for the SEC tournament, I don't think, Chris. But the fact that you can have a quick hook because you got so many quality options there means you can pitch folks and approach offenses a lot differently.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be their challenge. If I've got a beef with Tim Corbin and Scott Brown, I think that's their hooks tend to be too long in coming sometimes when a guy's struggling. And sometimes a guy pitches out of it. But like one guy, and I don't mean to bag on him, Miller Green's had a tough year. He was going to be their closer. It was a Team USA guy. He gave up that grand slam to Auburn and just has not been the same. Now, he's gotten some bad luck. Like any and every ground ball that's hit against him, his first 2 hitters finds a hole just without fail. And they aren't always crushed. But the other thing is you could also put the guy away and not have to deal with the ball in play. And he just doesn't have a put-away pitch right now. And they brought him in Hoover in a spot like that. In fact, one of the only runs they gave up was when they brought Miller Green in with runners on, which I thought was a mistake. I thought they should have given him a clean start to give him a little less pressure, but it didn't go well. But Tim Corbin did the one thing that he's not done all year, and that's that he took him out after that one batter. That signaled to me that maybe with all the options they've got, and that's another thing. I think in the past when I've had criticisms about that, I don't know that they had the depth of options. And I think Tim's move, Mo, you know him too. I think he's going to give guys chances to win or lose roles. And to me, that signaled that maybe we're past the point of, hey, no offense, but either you get the guy or we're up next because we got too many options. And that feels like the place they are.
And I think that's the time of year that they are as well. I mean, we don't have, the regular season was the time for all that. At this point, we got to get outs, man.
Yeah.
So either do that or come sit with me. Chris Lee of Southeastern 16 joining us here on Main Street Sports today as we take a look at the NCAA baseball tournament that starts up this weekend with 13 of the 64 teams coming from the Southeastern Conference, including 8 region number ones, 6 of whom will host if they win their region at the super regional level. So this thing threatens to have a SEC flavor yet again. And Chris, we don't have enough time to get into it, but I was reading a real interesting article out of South Carolina yesterday that really makes me feel like it's 50-50 at best whether Palminteri is back next year.
Yeah, that one got read a lot. I haven't read it, but I've heard the highlights. There's been a little talk in the water for a while that this might be a one and done. And I don't mean to pile on Palminteri. Never met the guy. You know, he's been good to the people that I know that know him. So I don't take any joy. But I just think for various reasons, that one might need to be time to just pull the plug and call it a mistake after a year. I think there were some extenuating circumstances there maybe too, but that just doesn't feel like a really good path forward for South Carolina baseball right now for a number of reasons. And I have all due respect for what he did at LSU. I think he did a great job there in Notre Dame. It's no knock on Palminteri, but sometimes it's just time, and I think this might be it.
Yeah, it never felt real comfortable to me from the start, to be honest. And so, you know, you hate to see a guy who has accomplished what he's accomplished at this level go out like this, but it might be the best thing for everybody involved. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on it. Chris, as always, man, we appreciate your insight and your input and look forward to catching up with you here over the next 3 weeks as we make our way to Omaha.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man.
Chris.
You bet.
Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we come back, we'll be talking a little professional baseball. Stick around.
If you want the latest in weather conditions, be sure to tune in to our Busy Bee Plumbing Weather Report each weekday on Mornings on Main Street. Brought to you, of course, by Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning. We will keep you updated on the latest conditions outside, like severe weather, heat, snow, rain, and even hail.
Zion Christian Academy at zioneagles.org or 931-388-7531. You can schedule your appointment to visit their beautiful campus. Again, zioneagles.org or 931-7531 to schedule your visit today.
May 27th, 1993, former Braves great Dale Murphy announced his retirement from Major League Baseball, ending an 18-year career that included 15 seasons, 7 National League All-Star selections, and a pair of MVP awards with Atlanta. Murphy also spent time with the Philadelphia Phillies and the Colorado Rockies, finishing his career with 398 home runs and 1,266 RBIs. From 1981 to 1990, no one in Major League Baseball had more home runs or drove in more runs than Murphy, who has yet to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. That was this day in Braves history. Put Dale in. Goodness gracious. The Braves, coming off of dropping 2 of 3 to San Diego over the weekend, head to Philadelphia, heading into the belly of the beast. The Braves 25-27 as they continue to hover at or just under 500. Philadelphia 34-19 coming into this series. It'll be Spencer Strider 0-2 with a 5.79 earned run average going for Atlanta against Ranger Suarez 3-0 with a 3.70. Man, the pieces feel like they are all there at this point for Atlanta, with Acuna coming back, but base running blunder got him on Friday night. Still don't know what Eli White was thinking, and got out front but couldn't stay out front Sunday in a 5-3 loss. That was a tough one, but you feel like things are starting to look up for Atlanta. I mean, again, they got Acuna back. He homered on his first pitch on Friday night. He hit another one on Saturday night, had a double in Sunday's game, hosed a guy, I think, in Friday's game as well. It was the catcher, but still, he went, so he had to get thrown out. Ozzy's starting to warm up, it feels like, and this team tends to hit a different gear in June traditionally. So we'll see if that's the case. They're going to need to.
They've been 11-11 in the month of May. The Phillies, meanwhile, are the best team in the month of May at 17-6. So if Atlanta is going to start getting better, these are the types of series. Now suddenly the intensity meter feels like it cranks up a couple notches, does it not? Because, you could play great down the stretch, and, you could do this and do that, but if you're 8.5 games back of the hottest team in baseball, you're only going to be as good as those chances you get to nab them yourself. So tonight and this series feels massive for Atlanta.
Yeah. Unlike Vanderbilt, the Braves don't have anybody else to do their dirty work here against Philadelphia. They're going to have to get it done themselves and take it.
Little Vandy shout out there.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, man, again, the best team in the Southeastern Conference, and they never had to see them. I'm just saying.
When you got 60 teams, somebody's when we have the Big Ten and SEC Super League, a few teams will get left out. And, you won't see Georgia playing Ohio State. You won't see Michigan playing Alabama. I mean, there will be some teams that do get left off the schedule, but I do see your point there for sure.
Yeah. Again, great weekend for Houston, taking 3 out of 4 against the Mariners, including a Christian Walker walk-off on Sunday to win that one 5-3. In the 3 games that Houston won against the Mariners, they held Seattle to 3 runs or fewer in each. I mean, good pitching beats good hitting, they say.
They say, and Houston will take them any way they can get them. They're still kind of just middle of the road, kind of just biding their time, and luckily for them, they got just enough wins to kind of keep Seattle within striking distance, a game and a half back as we speak today. So a couple of good wins. They still have not found a gear. They had Arrighetti and Blanco kind of missed some time already this year, and Alvarez being out. Maybe that's enough, kind of similar to Atlanta. You're thinking, okay, when you get all your pieces back together, maybe it'll be enough to pull you through. But they're kind of just biding their time right now. No one's really ran away with that division, but we have got some distance because it feels like Seattle and Houston have kind of emerged as the two most consistently average teams in a bad division. They've been the most consistently average, which, well, like I said, it's the NFC South. It'll get you in the playoffs if you can win that one.
I like that characterization, consistently average. They will have a chance to continue to be consistently average or maybe a little better as the West Sacramento Athletics come to town tonight. 7:10 start. JP Sears 4-4 with a 4 ERA going for the Athletics, who are 23-31 coming into the series. For the 28-25 Astros, it'll be Hunter Brown 6-3 with a 2.04. The Athletics, man, have been, to me, probably in terms of teams that you thought were going to be bad, one of the surprises in baseball this year.
I said the season I thought they were going to be scrappy.
You did.
Just because
you
that
absolutely
weird,
did.
just that weird, unique situation. They're going to be more familiar in a weird, unique situation than the other team coming in. Kind of like the Rays, but it hadn't quite played out to the same effect with the Rays. But that's also a function of the Yankees just being that much better than everybody in that division. But kind of the same thing. It just feels like if you're going to put us in an odd spot, you got to play in it too. And we're going to be more comfortable in the odd situation than them. Right. They grabbed a game from the Phillies the other night. They'd lost quite a few in a row prior to that, but they've played well at times. They've been sneaky this year. Can't write them off just yet.
Absolutely.
You did see the manager get tossed though? That's the one quirk of the ballpark I was unfamiliar with. When the manager gets tossed, the A's manager.
Oh yeah.
Can't even think. He has to take like a mile walk of shame. Yeah, he has to take like a mile walk of shame. So I love seeing that visual. Like little quirks and idiosyncrasies is kind of what you got to hitch your wagon to if you're an A's fan this year. It's going to be grim for a couple of years, so you might as well enjoy the little things in life.
I actually covered the Sounds in a series out there, and yeah, that really is odd. The clubhouse is out beyond the outfield fence out there.
When the ump says take a walk, he literally means take a walk. I mean,
take a long one.
Your Apple Watch is going to be giving you some stats. That's how far of a walk we're talking here.
I thought it was really odd yesterday that not everybody played in Major League Baseball. There were only 12 games, which means only 24 teams played. Astros were off, the Braves were off, the Phillies were off, the Nationals were off. Seattle and the Athletics were all off on Memorial Day. I don't know why you don't have a full slate of games on, the summer holidays, Memorial Day, the 4th of July, Labor Day. I don't know what it looks like for either of those other two, but that kind of struck me that not everybody was playing yesterday.
I, for one, am shocked that MLB has not nailed a scheduling or PR situation, right? Are we really surprised by this? Yeah, I mean, you got to have – this is like your time to shine. Yeah. This is about as bad as the NHL putting the game on Sunday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when everybody in the world is out grilling. I mean, you have to cash in if you're MLB. What else are you doing? What are you doing with your life, MLB, at this point? I'm with you. I thought that was odd.
I mean, when the International League, which typically takes Mondays off, schedules Monday games and then takes Tuesdays off, which is what happened with the Sounds in Indianapolis yesterday. They lost a 2-1 decision in Indy to open that series after playing on Sunday in Nashville. Now, that's a fairly easy trip from Nashville to Indy, but they lost 2-1 yesterday on Memorial Day. They're taking today off. They will pick that series back up tomorrow. So when even the minors are getting it right and MLB doesn't, to your point, yeah, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I was not shocked, but I was also not any less disappointed. Give me games starting at like 10 a.m. There should have been wall-to-wall action. We saw teams do Memorial Day tributes and, pay their respects. Mm-hmm. Everybody's doing the same. Why not? Why not everybody? Why are only certain teams doing that? I did found that unusual.
Very. Hour number one of the Top 5 Tuesday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, comes to a close. When we come back after this break, it'll be hour number 2. We will get into the grab bag. And don't forget, at the end of the show, in our final segment, Wade and I will be giving you our top 5 college baseball teams. Stick around.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy at zioneagles.org or 931-388-7531. You can schedule your appointment to visit their beautiful campus. Again, zioneagles.org or 931-7531 to schedule your visit today. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with Riverstone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe the measure of any person or company is how you treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStoneHandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Hour number 2 of Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, kicks off or tips off right now. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. Wade, give me your thoughts on OKC stepping one step closer to a finals berth following last night's 128-126 win at Minnesota.
Man, isn't it precious, Mo? We get to see the baby Thunder grow up before the kids grow up so fast. This time last year, we were heaping praise on them, and they stubbed their toe. And we said, maybe they're not there. We've seen them increase their win totals like 3 out of the last 4 seasons by leaps and bounds. They haven't taken the step, but they took the next step, and they have been taking the next step. They will be in the finals, and they will be a prohibitive favorite to win the finals. The kids grow up so fast. They're growing up right before our very eyes. They're turning into cold-blooded killers and winning games and taking names every step of the way.
They certainly got business taken care of last night, again, on the road, and got a chance to close it out when they go back home tomorrow night. Do you think Minnesota has anything to slow them down on the road tomorrow?
No, sir. This series is playing. Minnesota is not playing a bad series. This is not last year where Minnesota slays Denver and then you're essentially anointing them as the Western Conference champs only to get ran into a buzzsaw by the Mavericks. This feels like a quality T-Wolves team that is just simply outmatched. They're playing well, and when they're at their absolute best, like they were Saturday, we saw them put up nearly 150 points in their win. They can maybe give the Thunder a little bit of a series, but we're just seeing cold, systematic destruction from the Thunder team that has done this to every single team all season long, and with the exception of maybe Denver in a 7-game series, they have not had any resistance. Minnesota's a great team, but yes, their season will be short-lived going forward.
Speaking of short-lived,
what is it, like 6% of teams have ever come back from a 3-1 deficit in the NBA postseason? I mean, the odds are stacked heavily against the Timberwolves.
How heavily are they stacked against the Knicks? Because Indiana has a chance to close that one out tonight, and the Pacers
2-1 series.
2-1. My bad.
Yeah, the Knicks came back. Well, we thought they were. They were down 30 points in the first half the other night, and we were writing the obits. The memes were out, you know. We saw Halliburton with the choke sign from game one. It was getting revisited and said the Knicks are done. Bury them. They're done. And then, boom, they rally from the dead, kind of like the Undertaker just rising up late in a WWE match for a 106-100 victory. But, yeah, they're right back in. I still feel like Indiana has been the better team in the postseason. And it feels like there's some weird cosmic energy with the Knicks. That's the third time now they've came from 20 points behind, but it does not feel sustainable. It does feel like Indy wins tonight and takes the 3-1 lead and therefore wins that series. But this will be a massive, massive game.
It feels like Indy is pulling out the big guns. John Halliburton will be in the building tonight. Tyrese's dad, who was temporarily banned after his confrontation with Giannis at the end of the Bucks series. So again, leaving nothing to chance. Let's get the good vibes going. Let's get John Halliburton back in the house, and let's go ahead and get this 3-1 lead tonight.
Yeah, it feels like that. That feels exactly like what the move is. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do this in game 3. But you know, better late than never. A little crafty and, you know, professional by the Pacers are saying he's not going to be courtside. We're going to let you in the building, but you still got to be in a suite. You can only do so much damage in a suite. You know, you can tear our suite up, but we don't want you tearing heads off out on the court or getting your head palmed like Giannis again. So it does feel like, yeah, a little bit of the celebrity mojo tipping in Indy's favor here. This will be a heck of a game tonight. Vegas has it at a 2.5 point spread favoring Indy. Neesmith, will he play? Will he not?
Right.
Will be a big question for the Pacers. It feels like their role players have played better by and large in this series, he being one of them. And if he doesn't go or if no one else steps up to fill that void, it does feel like the Knicks maybe grab this game tonight, and then it's going to be one hell of a finish if we end up going back to the Garden tied 2-2.
Neesmith isn't the Vanderbilt Commodore that most folks expected to be talking about this late in the NBA postseason, between Darius Garland at Cleveland and
Cornette
at Boston. But here we are. Yeah, Neesmith and his ability to go with that ankle injury going to be a key component of what things look like tonight, again, as Indiana tries to extend that lead to 3-1. And yeah, Halliburton will be in a suite tonight, will not be at MSG for game 5, apparently. So
now I wonder if that's of his accord, or if, you know, MSG says, you know, we see what you're doing, Pacers. You ain't getting him in here.
Gonna be an interesting turn of events here again as we wind toward the NBA Finals. I can't think the powers that be are any kind of way fired up about Oklahoma City and Indianapolis.
I mean,
championship.
No, I mean, we've seen OKC coming the whole season. We did not obviously see Indy coming this far, especially the start they got off to. They were borderline playoff caliber the way they were playing through the first 25 games of the season, it felt like. But they've hit their stride. I mean, you got to play who you got to play. I don't know that anybody really thought they'd be playing the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, rather. But here we are. It won't draw record numbers. It will, in many regards, feel the real storyline will be the coronation of the Thunder and what they've been building toward, and the MVP in SGA. But you know, Indiana might put up a little resistance. New York is just scrappy enough and runs 100 miles an hour at all times. Maybe they get a game or two, but yeah, that will be the storyline, presumably. Ratings will not be abound, but we'll have our coronation, it feels like.
Good news for Ann Arbor, if you're a basketball fan. Yaxel Lindeborg has apparently withdrawn his name from the NBA draft and will, in fact, transfer to Michigan from UAB for the upcoming season. Projected first rounder, spent the last 3 years, again, down at UAB playing for AK, went into the portal and has come out as a Wolverine.
Big get for Michigan, obviously. And man, talk about a swing for the fences. I used that term earlier with Chris Lee. Michigan swung for the fences. There were some other schools that probably would have vied for his services, but the NBA chatter may have ran them off, may have scared them off a little bit. And Coach Dusty May said, you know what? I'm not really scared. Matter of fact, I'm going to support you. They had multiple execs and members of the coaching staff at the combine. They kind of supported him through the whole process. And I mean, hey, if you're not going first round, why do you go? I mean, especially in this NIL era. And so it works out to Michigan's benefit that they got a home run talent. They do lose a couple big pieces in the front court in Golden and Wolf, but bringing him back in the mix, Michigan will be right there in the thick of things as a potential top 10 team heading into next season with him at full strength.
While it's been and still is a dream of mine to play in the NBA, I feel the development and growth as a player and a person I will gain at the University of Michigan will be very beneficial. I'd like to thank Coach May and staff for allowing me to go through this process without any pressure, the Champions Circle Collective for helping make this opportunity possible, and all the NBA teams I worked out for allowing me to experience the pre-draft process. Go Blue. Lindborg was the American Tournament MVP last year, was a two-time first-team all-conference player, and was the Americans' Defensive Player of the Year each of the last 2 years. So certainly feels like an impactful individual coming up on 6'9", 7'4" wingspan, and a standing reach of 9 feet and 1/2 inch. So got a lot to work with there, obviously.
Yeah. And if they could have somehow gotten Wolf to come back, I mean, it would just be an embarrassment. They're on three's got them ranked preseason number 9 as of today. But if they had gotten Wolf or maybe one other transfer to come in, they got a good class as is. We'd be talking about top 5 for sure. That was a big gamble. I mean, if he goes and stays in the draft, you kind of have a little egg on your face, and you kind of wish that you had revisited your strategy and kind of drafted a different portal strategy. But Michigan gambled, and it seemingly has paid off. They'll be fun to watch next year.
Michigan not the only program getting good news here of late out of the portal, and this one won't, I don't think, have the impact of a Lindborg going to Michigan, but Middle Tennessee State has secured the services of former Smyrna guard Savon Weichel, 6'5", 190-pounder, will arrive for 1 year of eligibility after spending his freshman season at Parkland College in Champaign, playing the last 2 years at the NCAA Division II level. Northwood College in Michigan as a sophomore. Missouri St. Louis this past year, started 32 of 33 games for UMSL, averaged almost 12 points a game, shot 41.8% from the floor. So this is wait a minute. He played 2 years. I'm sorry, at Missouri St. Louis. The math doesn't math these days when it comes to college athletics. Okay, so he averaged 11.7 points this past year, 9.7 points as a junior at Missouri St. Louis. So he's played 3 years at the Division II level, 2 at UMSL, 1 as a sophomore at Northland College up in Michigan, and again played his freshman year at Parkland College, a junior college in Champaign, Illinois. So he was a 2-time all-district player for the Bulldogs. Coming home is Savon Weichel. And
good news for him. Good news for MTSU. They needed some good news after losing Porter in the portal. Hefty bag secured at Clemson, from what I've been told.
And good for him. You know, I mean, if you're going to go big or go home. So, I mean, I'm glad that he did secure the bag, and I hope it all works out for him the way he wants it to over there. But it'll be interesting to keep an eye on. Continuing with our postseason look-ins, Carolina gets on the board against the Panthers with a 3-1 win over Florida. Florida leads that series 3-1. I guess Game 5 is tomorrow. did not look. My bad. But this is really another not if but when, right, Wade?
If but when. But props to Carolina. It's not every day that they go out and win a game. They had lost 15 in a row in the in the Eastern Conference Finals. Imagine that. You get to the semis every year practically, or, four plus times, and get swept every single time practically. Kudos to them for showing a little backbone. Snapped a 15-game losing streak in the conference finals. But yes, they're done. to your point, to your original question, they're done. I mean, Florida was scoring at will this weekend and just kind of taking names. Saturday 6-2, and it felt like a bloodbath even more than that. It was it was an act of kindness, it felt like, in some regards, by the Panthers, what they displayed last night.
Dallas goes back to Edmonton for Game 4 tonight, trying to even that series. The Oilers lead it 2-1. That's a 7:00 puck drop up in Edmonton, and you can see it on ESPN. What do you think the Stars have got?
They got to have to rally in a hurry. It feels like all that major momentum that they had last round has suddenly gone out the window, and the Oilers are suddenly peaking. I mean, we are looking at Edmonton and Florida yet again, hopefully with as much drama as we saw last year, right? Because Edmonton just feels like all the stars are aligning for them. For whatever reason, it just does not feel like the magic has really all the way connected in this series for them. And talk about a romp, 6-1 on Sunday night. Edmonton was running wild in that first home game. I don't know that there will be that level of domination tonight, but I do think they get the win.
NFL news. Last week, I was having a late meal with a friend of the show, Charles Pulliam of the Williamson Herald. Looked up at one of the screens and saw Indianapolis Colts general manager Jim Irsay has died at the age of 65. And while
owner,
I'm sorry, owner and general manager. No, owner Jim Irsay, and I don't know what.
No, Mr. Ballard has somehow managed to retain his services all these years.
Maybe that's what I was thinking. Maybe I thought Irsay should have been the general manager instead of Ballard. Yeah, but
you'd have been onto something. You're right.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has passed away at the age of 65, and while it is old news at this point, we missed some time last week, and certainly wanted to acknowledge that. That's tough news. And 65, you don't feel like is all that old. So
yeah, he'll be missed. Man, he lived a hard and fast life. That was a hard and fast 65, to say the least. But props to Coach to Irsay. I call him Coach Irsay because he feels kind of like a coach in some regards. But his final tweet, just hours before he passed, he said, "Go Pacers." He still kind of wished some well into the city of Indianapolis. He was charismatic in his own unique, quirky way. And you cannot ever think about the Colts without thinking about him and certainly his social media presence over the last decade.
Unique, quirky way, man. You certainly have a way with that kind of thing, man, because that really capsulizes.
That's him,
Jim Irsay. Yeah. Yeah, go Pacers. Good luck to Herb, the entire Pacers organization, and our city. Was his tweet earlier on Wednesday prior to his passing. So, quirky though he was, he seemed to kind of endear himself to that market, and I guess it's stuff like that helped with it. So
Irsay passes away Wednesday, and then here today on Tuesday, the debate begins. Anthony Richardson versus Daniel Jones. We're already revving up as we head into the offseason here. It'll be an interesting one, to say the least, for a variety of reasons now for the Colts.
It's going to be an interesting one for the Dolphins as well, because apparently they and former Brentwood Academy standout Jalen Ramsey are at the point of no return for Ramsey. They are looking at potential trades for the ultra-talented defensive back. Played in all 17 games for Miami last year. First time he had not made a Pro Bowl since his rookie year back in 2016. And man, that makes me feel old that Jalen Ramsey was a rookie in 2016. But Yeah, Miami going to be moving him. It sounds like. Doesn't sound like there is a way back for them. The team and for him. So,
doesn't sound like it. He's dropped. We're in 2025. He's dropping the cryptic posts on the socials. Wondering what the next move is. I'll be real curious. I don't know that it's. I mean, I'm very fascinated to see who ponies up. Does somebody pony up, or is this kind of just a weird, sticky, icky situation for the remainder of this season? His services probably, you would assume, will be vied for, but the question will be, how much of a ransom does Miami want in return?
He's got a guaranteed salary of $24.3 million. So I don't know who exactly would be on the hook for all that, because I don't understand all of the NFL bookkeeping processes. But General Manager Chris Greer said, we spent a lot of time this offseason working through this, talking through things. At the end of the day, Jalen did not ask for a trade. So we went through the process and just felt like, through numerous conversations and then talking with Jalen and his agent, it was best to move forward in the best interest of the Miami Dolphins and for Jalen Ramsey. So, again,
and it sounds like the Dolphins are going to have to, maybe to really get him out for kind of fair value, quote unquote fair value, they might have to eat some of that money too. So, I mean, it really is a odd kind of puzzle that has to be put together if that's what ends up happening, to your point.
Yeah. Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. In our final segment, Wade and I will give you our top 5 college baseball teams. In the next segment, we will keep the football talk going, though, as we visit with Fairview football coach and renowned flag football quarterback Chris Hughes. Stick around.
Get ready, race fans. NASCAR is back in Music City with a new name, the Cracker Barrel 400. Guitars, fast cars, and the comfort of Cracker Barrel's country hospitality. May 30th through June 1st. The action kicks off Friday night at Nashville Super Speedway with the Rackley Roofing 200. Then the Tennessee Lottery 250 on Saturday. And Sunday night, NASCAR's top stars under the lights in the Cracker Barrel 400. Get your tickets now at NashvilleSuperspeedway.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton, and we are joined now by legendary flag football quarterback and Fairview High School coach Chris Hughes. Chris, good afternoon.
Hey, Maurice. Can y'all hear me okay?
We got you.
All right, Wade. How you doing, Wade?
Good. Good to see you, Coach.
Good.
Chris, you indicated that you were in Humphreys County. Is that right?
McEwen High School, Maurice. So playing in those old gymnasiums. Middle school basketball camp already started for my son. So
middle school basketball camp. Oh goodness, y'all just got out of
about 8 teams here. They're playing, 25-minute games and rotating around. He's on his 3rd game right now. So
okay. Y'all just got out of school when?
Graduation was Friday, so we had right back at it.
Yeah. Okay, that was the point I was getting to.
Yeah.
Chris, I'm sure you know. Last week, the NFL voted to allow players to play flag football in the 2028 Olympics, and a key figure in the flag football community and a friend of yours, Daryl Doucette, HUGHES they call him, kind of took exception to that move. I guess the flag guys deserve their opportunity. That's all we want. Felt like we worked hard to get the sport to where it's at, and then when the NFL guys spoke about it, it was like we were getting kicked to the side. I felt like I was the guy who could speak out for my peers, for my brothers that's been working hard to get to this level, for us to not be forgotten. Now, how much of a prevailing thought is that amongst, the guys who have built this sport, Chris?
I'll tell you this, it's big news in our world. So I've gotten texts and emails and a lot of social media, Facebook, etc., with the flag guys taking exception to the NFL guys think they can just come in and be on the team. There's a process you have to go through, and HUGHES is one, if not the best, most elite flag players in the world. I would compare him to the NFL to someone like Tyreek Hill. But he can throw as well as run. So his fast, quick twitch is just unreal, Maurice. If you ever see that guy play, it's a different level. And we've had the Joes versus the pros, but it wasn't current pros. It was pros that were out of the game. And HUGHES and them beat them convincingly twice. So the flag game is different than tackle football. I'm not saying NFL players can't adjust and get there, but without going through that process, and what HUGHES was saying was they deserve the opportunity to represent their country, just like the NFL players deserve the opportunity. So what he's hoping for is everyone gets a fair shake, because he feels like if they go to trials and he goes to trials, he's going to make the 12-man roster. And that's something that all the flag world's concerned because of the names. They're just going to be put on the team. And that doesn't necessarily equate to a gold medal, because Mexico, China, some of these other teams are very competitive and have played this game for a long time. So it's interesting to see where this is going to go, but it is bringing a lot of notoriety to the flag football world.
What's the immediate chatter, Coach, on how do you think the roster will get filled out? Will it be something that the NFL kind of just strong arms its way into somehow? Or do you think we kind of maybe get a hybrid where they do pay homage and kind of respect to what you guys have done thus far? I'm curious your thoughts.
That's a great question, Wade. I wish I knew that answer. A
lot of people do.
Yeah, a lot of people do. And here's the thing. The USA Football came out and said they're okay with those guys coming. The NFL put restrictions on what would be allowed. The thing shocking to me, like one player from each team. All of these things NFL put out, so Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase can't come. But here's the thing. That person has to be willing to go to trials, training camp, international games, and then play. That's a lot of commitment for an NFL guy who already has to go to off-season training, OTA, the things that the NFL requires. So they do want to win that gold medal, and I understand that. I want to see how many actually will follow through with all they have to do it. What I think we're making is a lot of noise about nothing, because I don't think that commitment's going to be there. So unless USA Football decides we're going to let Patrick Mahomes play because he's Patrick Mahomes, he don't have to go through the process, then that changes everything. But right now, the NFL saying they can go to all that as long as USA Flag makes the dates, not conflict with the NFL dates. And that's what's trying to be worked out right now with the leadership of USA Football.
That's going to be interesting, because aren't the Olympics going to be in the fall? When have the dates been set?
2028.
But I mean, when?
Well, the Olympics are going to be taking place right before NFL training camp, Maurice. So the flag football portion will happen I think it's a week before, maybe 2 weeks before, but they have to go to trials and all that, which is going to back up too. NFL guy gets done with this season. He's not trying to go out and go to all these internet. These guys go to Thailand, Portugal, China. Right now, I'm going to one in LA in the middle of June, an international games. I'm coaching the 23U women's team. That's Team USA, and those are requirements for the people on Team USA. They have to be at those events. That's how they get their cohesiveness and their practice to play in the Olympics. So I'm interested to see how it goes. I do think, Wade, the best scenario is the best 12. I don't care if it's all pro or all. I just think it's going to be hard. We've got some guys, Pablo Smith, HUGHES Doucette. I can go through a list of flag guys that I think can play with any of those NFL guys. Now, are there some NFL guys that can play with any of the flag guys? Absolutely. So once they get in there, boy, finding somebody to coach that team, make sure there's a good mix. And I think USA has good coaches, but they got to find that mixture, and then they've got to gel it together, because the worst thing that could happen is for them to put either of those in and somebody doesn't win the gold. That is a disaster.
That's what I was just getting ready to say, Coach. Without the personal connection we have with you as just a good old-fashioned red-blooded American, I want whatever would give us the best chance to win the gold. I don't necessarily care who it is. So if you roll out 12 flag pros that I don't necessarily know their names, I'm okay with that if that means that we're going to have the best shot to win. If you also roll out 12 NFL guys and that maybe gives you the best shot to win, I'm cool with that too. So that's why I'm kind of curious on how this thing will kind of get eventually made up.
Well, and one of the things I think hurt us with the Pro Flag League was the fact we didn't have pro names attached. So I do think attaching a few of those pros with those guys brings some – I'm going to be honest. Even one really big name draws attention. So I think they need an NFL guy just to make that so exciting people are wanting to watch it. Because if you get Daryl HUGHES Doucette is becoming known, and in the flag world, there's no one playing competitive flag that doesn't know who HUGHES is. So, but when you get out like you, Wade, do you ever heard of HUGHES before this?
Not before this, but now I want to know, after looking at his Wikipedia, I want to know how cold he was at Xavier University in Louisiana playing intramurals. I can imagine he was putting up mad numbers on the intramural fields down there in New Orleans.
He's killing everything, and he's such a dynamic player and such a good guy. His team won the $1 million in the U.S. Open in 2018. He was a baggage person at the airport before that. Now he is a full-time flag football. I mean, he's paid money to go around and play at these places. He's the face of flag football right now, kind of like Vanita Crouch is for Team USA Women. They've been around a long time. They've been playing. I've been playing against HUGHES since he was 18 years old, played with a team called Quick Strike out of Louisiana, and we used to spank them all the time. And then HUGHES became the quarterback, and they started a team called Fighting Cancer and rolled off about 7 years where they didn't lose a game. So he's come so far, and he's such a good guy. And those things, here's the thing. He was at the Pro Bowl with those guys playing in that little all-star thing they did, and those guys fed off him. They wanted his knowledge. They wanted him on their team. So it's one of those things. I think there's a happy medium here. I don't think the NFL should count this like we're going to be on the team because my name is this. Right. And I don't think those flag guys need to think just because you've been working all this time, somebody better comes along. Somebody better comes for you and Maurice's job. Y'all might be doing something else next week. So same with me.
Careful with that talk, Coach. We kind of like what we're doing here on 2 to 4 every day.
Well, nobody's better, right? Y'all got security. See, that's
Thank you for saving that there. We
appreciate you, Chris Hughes, Fairview High School football coach, flag football coach, and hold up just a second. You said HUGHES and his bunch won that $1 million a couple of years ago. Who did they beat? Because weren't y'all in that mix as well?
Yeah. They beat us in the final. I think it was the final 8. Might have been the final 4. But we actually, for the $250,000 tournament 2 years later, we put them out. It was their only loss they've had in about 7 years. So we can compete with them. HUGHES is the best pro field. I think they kind of took us for granted and overlooked us a little bit because there's an old quarterback throwing. So, it's easy to get to sleep on that, at the Woody Harrelson from White Men Can't Jump comes out, and then all of a sudden you're down 20-0. So, but I will say this: he's beat me a lot more times than I beat him. And
so go ahead.
Go ahead, Maurice.
No, I was just going to ask you. So, are you in this mix for Olympic gold? I know you said that you're coaching a 23U women's team, but are we going to see you in LA?
I actually applied for a coaching position with Team USA, and I made the final three, Maurice. I was very happy about that because those guys don't know me, and most of the time they promote from within. And that's what they did. They took the 18U women's coach and put him as the assistant for the national men's team. So, and his name is Willie Perez. He's a great guy. I know all those guys, and I didn't get it, but I would only be looking on the coaching side. I'm definitely not good enough to play in the Olympics. And
not with that attitude, Coach.
Well, you know what? If we're talking about the elite, like you two don't have to worry about job security. Mine was easily replaced. And, even in high school coaching, easily replaced. And so you got to know kind of where you are. I like to think that I can play with those guys, but if I was picking teams, it's just like gym class. I'm not going to make the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks. There's a lot of guys better. In fact, Nico Cesares made the 12-man roster this year as a new up-and-coming quarterback, and I've been pretty impressed with him, watching him play. Our teams can compete with those teams, and we play, but when you get all those guys on one team, that's a little different story. And my arm and my legs, I mean, if you see these guys run, I would look like I was in slow motion out there, and I'm kind of not what you want to look. We want to win gold. We don't want to look like it's the Geritol old man game. They want to look good out there in their uniforms too. So, but hey,
don't sell yourself short.
I would love to do it. I would love to compete, though. I'll tell you what, I would take the chance out there if they let me, but I think it's a young man's game, just like everything else.
Hey, you're saying that, Coach, is there going to be rule changes, or is everything kind of pretty much exactly that these guys are used to competing? Are they going to adapt it apples to apples going forward?
National rules, 5-on-5, international rules. There's no contact. So, and let me say this about 5-on-5. It's a speed game. So you think about NFL guys. Think about a linebacker in NFL. He has no place on the flag football field. I'm just going to tell you, he couldn't pull Hoosh's flag in a phone booth. So, those guys don't need to be out there. Now, you got Tyreek Hill, quick twitch muscle fibers. You got these receivers that run 4-3 and got great route running ability. You got, those kind of people can fit in. DBs that can lock down man to man. Those are the kind of guys you want. If they get the wrong mix, like I heard that Gronkowski wants to play, that would be a big mistake for Team USA. He's not going to fit the flag world. Now, possession receiver, maybe catch a ball on 3rd and short. But as far as moving the ball down the field, and there's no contact. So that's what I think the biggest adjustment for NFL. These guys have been able to put their hands on people to stop them. Think about a DB. A good DB can do press coverage and stop somebody. Dion takes the field away, plays zone, and he presses. Then he backs off, and now they've got to get out there. And if you breathe on someone, international rules, 5 yards, first down. And that's a big difference for the NFL players they'll have to adjust to.
As long as you are going down that road, what else are the adjustments that those guys are going to have to make? I mean, again, not being able to put their hands on guys, pulling flags. I mean, just watching girls flag football, you can kind of see the difference in that and in tackle football. And to just think that everything is transferable is kind of foolhardy, to say the least.
Well, I'll give you an example. When we played the pros, they had Michael Vick, and they had a mixture of different pros. Seneca Wallace was a real good quarterback in flag when that game went on. He was exceptional. I think he was the best one out of all of those. Danny Werfel played quarterback for a team. He was pretty good. He understood the game, and they practiced a lot. But when you talk about the differences I saw then, you have to get rid of the ball so fast. So you can't think the rush comes from 5 yards away, but the guys run elite speed. So when I'm quarterbacking in a tournament mode, I literally in my head, I've got 2 seconds to let the ball go. An NFL quarterback, even with bad blocking, has 3 to 4 seconds. All right. So there's a big difference in they can't block that rusher. You can't even get in his way. If you step in front of him, it's a penalty. He gets a straight line to the quarterback. And if you think about that, somebody slow like me, that's a dagger. Like I'm like, if you're running straight at me and you run a 4-4, I just gotta hope you miss my flag or I throw it before you get there. So that's a big adjustment because they've got to let the ball go so quick. The receivers, I think, have the most advantage to play flag. Like a good receiver could play flag because the DBs can't touch them. So you talk about route running; those guys are going to be good route runners. They're going to do things right. But the deep routes aren't as effective. So this is more of a short passing game and people breaking long runs because they're so much quicker and have that agility, side to side lateral movement. A straight line runner is not necessarily a good flag player, but a scat back, a Pacheco, somebody that does this when they're running are real dangerous in flag because they'll start on one side of the field and end up on the other side running down the sideline, and 4 people are laying on the ground because they didn't get to the flag. And I've seen the NFL players too. They gave up easy. Like when HUGHES would go to the right and the whole team would run, well, the guys on the left just stood still. He turned around, came back that way, got caught sleeping. And that's an adjustment for them. All 5 players have to be involved the whole time because there's a lot of pitching. There's a lot of backward passes where they do double passes. The intricacies of the game, the pros can learn it, but the guys doing it now already know. So it's kind of like, Mo, I'll give you an example, Mo. Williamson County, we've been doing flag for 4 years. Huge advantage when everybody else started this year and we'd already been playing for that long. So I think they need to get into it now so that they can be good. I think they need to get into it. They need to start it. And I think the NFL is going to back a pro league here soon, women and men. And when that comes out, it'll be big. But I hope some of these guys in the off season will take time to at least tinker with it and figure it out if they're going to really compete for spots like HUGHES has. And I'm just going to be honest. I don't see an NFL guy taking HUGHES spot unless the NFL and USA Flag decide we're just going with an NFL roster.
Yeah, I'm with you, Coach. It feels like the amount of work, for simplest terms, required to really get to that level. I think that will scare away quite a few guys right off the rip. They're just saying, well, I'm not going to do that. That's just way too much time and commitment. And then I think you will slowly whittle it down. So that's why I'm curious. I'm also curious, amongst the flag world, who is maybe you've mentioned Tyreek Hill a couple times. He was kind of my first thought. Who's like the most direct, hey, this guy absolutely would kill it for us in your mind right now?
Oh,
with minimal training, I guess.
Any of those guys like Tyreek, anybody.
Okay.
Like you could take any pro that is a speedy guy that can take a handoff or a pass and run it to the house and not be tackled. Well, if he can't be tackled, there's good odds they can't pull his flag either. So, I think of all the quick twitch players and all those receivers that can separate from guys and then they can't get caught. All of those guys would be explosive. And listen, I just don't think it's a big man's game. I think you won't see a 6'6", 250-pound flag player. That's just, you don't see that. Like when we go, that's 8 contact, and that's not the style. So you're talking about 5s, no touching. So you got to think of speedy guys that don't need help. And look, on defensive backs, let's talk about that. Like the elite DBs in the NFL all use their hands. But there are some with that quick twitch that can get there. I want to tell you that I'm super impressed. Like Travis Hunter is one of those guys just coming into the NFL, but he has all of those things you would want out of a flag player. Travis Hunter has, because here's the thing: you only got 10 players on the roster. Guys had to be able to go both ways. So Travis Hunter, he can run and catch balls, and he can D you up. That's what these flag guys do. HUGHES can quarterback, wide receiver, center, play linebacker, rush, or play safety. HUGHES can play any spot on that field as good or better than the guy in front of him.
Is that, Chris, what made him the right guy to speak up on this situation? Because he's going to make the team anyway.
Well, here's the thing, Mo. He's won gold medal in the international games for the last 5-6 years. He's been the quarterback, and the USA's won and hasn't been beat. So he's already doing, it's just not an Olympic sport. But there's still international games that have been played, and he has won that every year against China, Mexico. So Team USA is already a thing. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but they've been playing. The coach, George Casada, was the quarterback of the Team USA team way back in the day, and he won, and now he's the coach of the team. So they've been winning gold medals. It's just not Olympic gold. Now that it's an official Olympic sport, it's a chance for HUGHES to get that on his resume along with all the international gold medals they already have. The World Games, Mo, is what it's called right now. So they have what's called World Games, and that has flag football. And our women and men are very competitive and very good and very respected. I think Team USA, USA Football does a great job with their coaches and players and their selection. It is a hard process, and it is really tough for them to basically choose that team. Like getting it down from 18 to 12 was really tough for them.
Chris Hughes, Fairview High School football coach, and obviously very knowledgeable flag football expert, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. NFL guys are going to have the opportunity to play flag football in the 2028 Olympics, and it's obviously going to be something to keep an eye on for all the reasons you mentioned. Yeah.
One other quick one, Coach. Do we see a situation like you sometimes see in Olympics or World Cups where, okay, the U.S. roster is solidified? Will we see some NFL guys kind of, shall I say, get creative with their family history and maybe go play for like a Germany or something? Do you think the interest is there that if they don't make U.S., they'll try it somewhere else?
Not only the NFL players, but I think these flag guys that are on teams right now would have that happen too. In fact, I know there's countries hoping that we just use NFL where they can steal our guys with some ancestry in their place. In fact, some of those countries, they just require a visa. Like you don't even have to be an actual citizen to play on their Olympic team, which is crazy to me. But I know some guys that live in the United States that play on those international teams already. So I think that will definitely, and that would be an awful thing to have 4 or 5 U.S. citizens beat the pros in the Olympics.
Yeah.
You talk about mud on your face. You got to go back and look at all that. And NFL may say, hey, we're not going to handle, we're just going to stop y'all from playing. But I am glad the NFL is at least open to it. And I do think that it's a good thing because here's the thing. It's bringing publicity to the game that I love. It's bringing people out there. It's made HUGHES a household name when everybody that wasn't in flag didn't know who he was. And still a lot of people haven't seen him play. But when you do, you'll fall in love with his ability. So it's one of those things where the pros wanting to be involved makes me happy.
Yeah.
Them getting a fair shot makes me happy. Removing guys that have earned a spot without them going through the process would not be fair and would not make me happy.
There we go. Chris Hughes, giving us some insight into some international flag football competition. Chris, as always, we appreciate you spending some time with us this afternoon, and good luck to your son. And does he pass the ball?
He had 5 assists last game. He was rolling. He was dealing it. So he's not like his dad, Mo. I shot every time I touched the ball. So they called me the black hole. The ball would go in, but it never came back out. So
you beat me to the punchline, Chris. Man, we appreciate it.
You saw me play at MTSU, Mo. I didn't pass the ball very much, but yeah, he's a dish guy. He's throwing it inside. But hey, thanks guys for having me, and I hope everything works out and Team USA takes that gold medal in 2028.
I'm sure we'll be talking between now and then, man. Thanks.
See y'all.
See you, Coach.
All right. Hey, let's take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we come back, it's Top 5 Tuesday. Wade and I will give you our top 5 college baseball teams that we've seen. Stick around.
Are you the biggest race fan? Our friends at Rackley Roofing want to send you to the Rackley 200 Craftsman Truck Series race at the Nashville Superspeedway on May 30th. Go to your favorite Main Street Media page and click the Enter to Win banner. We will see you at the track.
Being in Tennessee, we wanted to try to keep it as local as possible, so we have an entire section of our menu that is just dedicated to local whiskeys like Uncle Nearest, Jack Daniels, of course, George Dickel, Nelson Brothers, Greenbrier Whiskey, and all of our taps are all local. From 2 o'clock until midnight, we've got food every day for you guys. A good handful of appetizers, some entrees, and a couple salads and things like that. My name is Ethan Kanana. Please come down and see us at the Pick Lobby Bar here at the Omni in Nashville.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
It is the final segment of Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That means it is Top 5 Tuesday, as Wade and I, in observance of the NCAA tournament field being announced yesterday, give you our top 5 college baseball teams. Wade, the floor is yours.
I'm going to start us off, Mo. And initially, this was said teams we've seen, and I will preface, I have not seen most of these teams on this list. Matter of fact, I might not have been alive when one or two of these teams were playing. But based on what I've heard, based on what I've watched on television, at least, I feel decent enough to maybe give us I'm not the biggest college baseball guy or baseball by any means, but I'll do my best. And so with that being said, I don't want anybody coming for me. Number 1 pick, clear cut, 2024 Tennessee. Don't come for me, Vol Twitter, please.
I don't think that's a bad.
That's an act of self-preservation more than anything.
I think you'll be okay with that. I mean, obviously, one of the few teams to win the SEC regular season and tournament championships, and just the run that they went on. Obviously, they had to survive some stuff once they got out to Omaha, but they did win a national championship and the first Tennessee team to do so. So it's kind of tough to argue with that one.
Good team. Christian Moore, our guy Kavaris, obviously. They even had your boy Dean Curley named the all World Series team last year. So, I mean, they were loaded.
He must have been swinging a mean stick. No. Yeah, that Tennessee team was pretty amazing. I'm going to go back to another Tennessee team, though. The 1995 Tennessee team that went to the College World Series, did not win it, went 2-2, in fact, but they had a Baseball Hall of Famer and a Cy Young Award winner in Todd Hilton and R.A. Dickey on that squad. And what was probably one of the college baseball teams that I had paid the most attention to that point, and actually was fortunate enough to go out to Omaha and cover that team in the World Series. So there may be a little bias as far as that goes, but yeah, we're going to go.
It's your list.
We're going to go with the 95 Tennessee team as my best that I've actually seen. So let's do that. Wade, number 2.
We've blanketed Tennessee, so we're good. They can't come for us by this point. With that being said, now we can really roll up our sleeves. Number 2 for me, the 99 Hurricanes, number 1 seed, still the last number 1 seed. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that alone deserves enough mention from me. They ran off a 50-13 record. And kind of took care of business along the way. The fact that there hasn't been a number 1 seed that has done that alone is worthy of mention in my book.
It really is. And it's as we get farther and farther from that, it seems to be even more impressive because, again, Vanderbilt's your number 1 seed this year. And, the fact that one hasn't won the whole thing since that 99 Miami team, it really kind of gets thrown out there every year, and we will hear it in reference to this Commodore team at some point over the course of this postseason. So,
hey, and even better, 2 things. Number 1, they won it as an independent that year, at least according to Wikipedia. I'm not going to go back and fact check that hard, but they also beat Florida State in the championship game. Come on, man, that's as good as it gets right there.
It really is. If you're Miami, I mean, 1, that was before the Big East for the Hurricanes, obviously before the ACC as well, and to beat an in-state hated rival like the Seminoles, that's huge. My number 2, speaking of number 1 national seeds, is the 2007 Vanderbilt team. It was the last or the only other Vanderbilt team to earn a national number 1 seed, and it did not go very well, as they did not get out of their own regional thanks to the Michigan Wolverines. But yeah, David Price, Pedro Alvarez, Ryan Flaherty was on that team, got some time in the majors as well. Mike Miner from Chapel Hill was on that team. I mean, star-studded roster, and they were one of a handful as well of teams to win both the SEC regular season and the SEC tournament. So that's you just don't see that very often, and I think as that conference continues to grow, you're going to see it less and less often. But that team was that was probably one of the biggest what ifs in local sports. What if they could have gotten out of Nashville in the NCAA tournament that year? How much damage could they have done? So that 2007 Vanderbilt team is my number 2. Your number 3?
Number 3 for me, still recency, so you can accuse me of bias, but I got the goods to back it up. 2023 LSU, yeah, they had the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, they had the number 2 overall pick. They had 13 players drafted, but you know what number I'm talking about. I'm talking about nearly 70,000 Jell-O shots. You rack up that many shots, you put up that many dingers, and you win it all. That's about as good as it gets right there. Give me LSU 23.
LSU showing some versatility with that 2023 team. I'm going to go with the 1996 LSU team that won the national championship on the swing of Warren Morris. And I was actually watching this game on TV. Morris had broken a hand, had not played a whole lot, and one swing he homers into the right field seats to give LSU a 9-8 victory over those same Hurricanes that you were mentioning. Probably still, for people who've been watching it for that period of time, one of the most exciting College World Series championship games you'll see. Give me that 1996 LSU team at number 3.
They've had some good ones.
No doubt. Number 4.
Number 4 for me, putting on my homer cap, but give me the 2019. Yeah, they didn't win it all, but the Michigan Wolverines get within a game of winning their 3rd College World Series and would have been their first in like 62. Had a hell of a run, won that first one, but they had no answer for Vandy down the stretch. But it was still one impressive effort. And I don't know that they'll get back to that, especially the way the Big Ten has expanded and things have kind of worked against them in the last couple of years. But 2019, they could almost taste the trophy, but couldn't quite pull it off.
Give me that 2019 Vanderbilt team as my number 4. J.J. Blade was on that team. He's playing Major League Baseball. Austin Martin has been in the majors. I mean, they had so much talent on that squad. And, of course, they did win the national championship. So that is my number 4, the 2019 Commodores. Number 5.
Number 5 for me, I had LSU on this list early, and I got an LSU team on this list now, but it ain't the one you guys are thinking. Our LSU Shreveport, I'm going ahead and calling my shot, kind of like Babe Ruth. They're 56-0 after they defeated Hope International earlier today out in Lewiston, Idaho. They are about a win, maybe 2 away from completing an undefeated season and winning the 2025 NAIA title. Give me LSU Shreveport.
There you go. I like it. I like it. My number 5, the 2003 Rice team, winning the first and only national championship in that program's history. 58-12. They won 30 straight at one point. 8 guys went on to play Major League Baseball. 2003 Rice. That's going to do it for Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Join us tomorrow right here at 2 o'clock. We'll see you then.